The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Hello and welcome to another edition of The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldu and we got a great show for you. A lot's in store. And no angry fathers on this set. It's just a couple guys who know their sports. And Andrew Brethauer, how are you?
I hope I'm not a father. Oh, that's what we're going for.
Well, the reason why I say that was because what happened to a Little League World Series coach or potentially taking his team didn't happen, but we'll get that story later on our show. Brett Morton with New Cap Sports, how are you, my friend?
Good, how are you? Thank you for having me once again.
Yeah, not a problem, and awesome to have you on. A lot of great things happened in terms of sports over the weekend, including the Chuckwagon races, which culminated with the championship dash. And of course, we can't lead off this show without talking about what happened in the GMC, Westridge GMC Pro Tour Finals. You had the top four drivers in here. You had one day missing, so you look at a couple guys like Chris Molly just missing out on being the high point champion, but still an opportunity to go out as a Canadian champion. Wayne Knight, who snuck in there too, who has kind of been masterful in terms of finding his way into the top four. Vern Nolan, of course, always a threat, managing to grab the fourth and final spot. So you had your four drivers, and of course Ray Mitzwing, who wins the high point champion. I can't forget about him, also in his final Lloydminster Finals race. All four ready to go. Then we have an incident. A couple barrels were knocked over. You also have a couple outriders who were knocked down. You have penalties galore. And then all of a sudden, throughout all the commotion, Wayne Knight is considered the winner. Now, looking at this video, how is Wayne Knight the winner when he clearly darts through and nearly causes even more havoc? And I'm saying Wayne Knight, I don't think, should have won looking at the replays. Is that a fair assessment? And we'll start with you, Andrew.
I think you got to give it a fair assessment, at least from watching the video. And I understand why they gave it because of average time, but penalties, missing barrels, they didn't add on all those extra penalties that should have happened if he would have, say, ran the race. And if none of this would have happened, if he would have got back on the track and ran, he would have gotten more penalties for missing barrels, more for late outriders and all of that. So it's hard. It's the whole situation is just horrible. Let's just call it what it is. We all wish we could have a race over and just do it again, and let's race for real here, because you could sit here and go through every single driver and pick out, this is why this guy should win, this is why he should win, and that's the problem. There's just so much chaos that happened that the judges took an hour and a half to pick it. It probably took them 3-4 hours. I still couldn't come up with a perfect winner.
You know, exactly. You look at that video and it still gives you chills down your spine, because it's like, did that just happen? And like, me and Andrew were like, 5-10 feet away from that, right at the rail there, and saw it all. It was incredible. But like he said, how do you pick a winner out of that? There was a mistake on every driver, in a sense. 2 drivers didn't finish the race. What would have happened if Chris Molly and Vern Nolan would have stopped? Nobody would have finished the race. Then how do you pick a winner? I think how he said, in a sense, everybody probably just wanted to, if you could have that race back again, why not, right? But it's hard to say if Wayne Knight was the correct winner in such the controversial fashion that it was decided in.
And not to pick on Knight at all, I think you guys raised the excellent question. Like, I think there should have been average times across the board would have been the best case scenario. Because if you look at it, and you look at the penalties everyone took, including Vern Nolan, it's so hard to kind of delve in there. I think the person who may have, and this is just my opinion, not yours, but the guy who got screwed over the most is Vern. Just for the fact that, yes, he avoided all that mess. Yes, he took the penalties for late outriders. Yes, he took the penalties for the stove, not being on the stove rack. We get that. But if you were just going to even just average the man's time, or even including the penalties across the board, I think Vern at least was the cleanest out of everybody there, and I felt that he may have had justice not served in his case. But moving away from that and going somewhere else, Whistling Straits, certainly a great time for one Aussie, Jason Day, who's had plenty of top 10 finishes this year, and finally culminated it with winning a major championship, taking the PGA Championship with a remarkable 20 under 4 strokes ahead of Jordan Spieth, or 3 strokes ahead of Jordan Spieth. You look at the body of work. What impressed you the most about Jason Day?
Just the fact that he was consistent all weekend. You know, he was minus 20. Obviously, he played a good 4 rounds of golf, and he was a better golfer, and he deserved the championship. And just the fact that he didn't have one lull in his game the whole entire 4 days. He was consistent the whole entire time. I feel he deserved it, and I feel like that's his biggest reason why he finished, like you said, minus 20.
And I like to look at the whole picture, what we're looking at now in golf, and how great golf has now become. You have Spieth at top, you have McIlroy coming back, and now you have Jason Day. The top 3 golfers in the world are amazing golfers, and now I'm going to say put to bed Tiger Woods, and now we can move on from that. Now we have 3 amazing golfers who are in the major hunts for every single tournament, and that's exciting. That's, to me, is what wants to draw me into golf. That Jordan Spieth maybe didn't win all 4 majors this year, but he was in the hunt for all of them. Jason Day is the same thing. Barely missed the cut at the British Open, comes back and wins the Canadian Open, and
Suffers through vertigo,
Oh.
and it nearly comes back in 1 major and has success here in Whistling Straits.
And they're nice young guys who are powerful at their game, are great golfers. This is something where I hope the PGA Tour doesn't mess up the marketing. Yeah. You have they added that playoff system. Well, now imagine these 3 guys in the final day going in the playoff system. That's storytelling right there, especially with how great golfers they are.
All right, guys, how about this? I'm going to say it's Tebow time.
Oh.
What are the Mullins for? I'm excited for this. It seems that Tim Tebow came in, granted it was a meaningless game and an exhibition game against the Indianapolis Colts, in a game that was blown out. But you look at what he did. Went 6 for 12, threw for 69 yards. The mechanics looked good. He also rushed for a touchdown in that game. Big deal, little deal, no deal. We'll start with you, Brett.
No deal.
How come?
Let him see. I want to see him do this in the regular season.
He had 4th-string guys that who were protecting him. There was going to be a little bit of issues, but the fact that he was successful, I think that there should be a positive thing. I'm not going to say that. I'm not blowing this out of proportion. I'm happy for the dude. I'm going to say this is, but I'm leaning towards, I won't say big deal, but I will say this is a little deal. I like it.
I have to go with no deal as well. Meaningless touchdown, let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Touchdown was at the end of the game. It didn't really matter.
His first touchdown in like 2 years. That's his first game playing pro ball. I don't care at what level you are. He's had 2 years of sitting down, either becoming an analyst or trying out. He's not even been in pads in an NFL game.
I could have been on the Colts line at that time.
Like,
come on.
Yeah, and you would have been smoked by Mr. Tebow.
There you go. But still, nobody was on the. No. If he does it in the regular season, I'll give him props.
I think it's also like, when are we giving 50% a passing grade? Like, that to me is not an amazing 6 for 12. It's not amazing stats, especially in a
not playing for 2 years. I think that's pretty impressive.
So then now let's move this into, are you going to put this guy in your lineup after not playing for 2 years and start him on a team that has DeMarco Murray in the backfield and is based around Chip Kelly, who likes to throw the ball? Tebow's history of throwing the ball is not the greatest.
But his mechanics looked a little bit. I think they looked a lot better since when he came into the league, when he was with the Denver Broncos. I think he's evolved considerably. And like I'm saying, he's missed 2 years of pro ball. That's a lot of time. Never mind just a season. But to actually play, not just a regular season game, just even a preseason game, it's night and day. So to get all those things figured out, I think that's a positive step for the guy. I'm not saying that he's going to be the starter, but I think Chip Kelly is one of those guys that says, I think I'm smarter than every other coach in the National Football League. I can make Tim Tebow a star. I can make him useful in the NFL.
Yeah, and there has to be evolution. This can't be bring back Tebow, throw him in for running from the quarterback wildcat format. That doesn't work anymore because everybody knows that's what you're going to do. So if they can involve his game and now you can say, oh, you could throw him in. You don't know what he's going to throw a 10-yard pass, take off and run. If you could add more. When he was playing for the Jets, you knew that's what Tebow was doing. Come into the game, I wonder, let's just put a guy on Tebow because he's going to run the ball. If he throws it, let him, like 50% chance. I'll take those odds in the NFL. If he can evolve his game and get to the next level, then fine, but baby steps.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we're going to talk about the Toronto Blue Jays, who just decided to shake things up in their lineup. Tell you more coming up.